Slaughter daughter, the badass bitch. As you were. Hey, everybody. I am Kelly, Slaughter Daughter Rebus, and welcome to the Slaughter Daughter House. I am so excited about today's stream. I have the most amazing, awesome, like my new bestie on tonight. Her name is Lacy Trailer. You may recognize that last name. She is the daughter of the legendary Hall of Famer, Big Boss Man. So, without further ado, I am so honored that she agreed to do the show with me tonight. Here is Lacy.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Kelly.
Hey, girl. Hey. Hey, girl.
Hey.
It's been a while. The last time I saw you, we went to Raw, right?
I think it was SmackDown in Greenville. My first
Was it
time.
SmackDown?
I think so, because I remember it's the first time I've seen Natalya wrestle in a while, and I think she was on SmackDown. I don't know if how the draft works anymore, but yeah, it was a good time. Had my gang of kiddos. I think my
Yes.
niece enjoyed it more than the boys. Actually, she was pretty into it. So it was
That was her first time seeing Natalia, and she's a new Natalia fan.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I have a video. It's really cute. She was so excited.
That's so sweet. Yeah, it was so amazing to meet you and to meet your family. I really get asked the same questions by people, and I was thinking, like, I bet Lacey gets asked the same kind of questions that I do. And so I'm like, I wonder how different our answers are or like how similar they are, you know?
Yeah.
I thought it would be a cool thing.
Oh, I'm sorry. You finish.
No. It's totally fine. I just thought it would be cool to come on here and just talk about our dads. And I don't know about you, and I think it is different because your dad has passed also. Um, but for my family, wrestling was not it was just something that my dad did to make money. Like that was his occupation, that was his work. It did not come home with him. He was not Sergeant Slaughter when he came home. Like my mom was like, Sarge doesn't live here. Like you're not allowed to bring this persona, this gimmick in the house. And when you're here, you're Bob and your dad. You're not Sarge. So was it like that for you, or was your dad's gimmick him? Was that his personality?
So I was born in 92. So I was born like right when I guess the golden age where it was like, I think, man, gosh, I need to look up which WrestleMania like it was the year that I was born. Do you know? Like, were you there at the first WrestleMania?
No,
Okay.
I was born, but I don't remember because it wasn't a big part of our lives, so I have no idea.
Right. And so I guess how I kind of have to think about it now, because like wrestling I was not interested in it at all. And I was like a toddler around when he moved from WWF, like the golden age, and he lost a bunch of weight like around, I guess, the time he had like slimmed up from his bigger self. So he started in 85 and I was born in 92. And then I remember like them talking about, moving from WWF to WCW and then getting sued by the World Wildlife Foundation. And when he went back in during the Attitude Era, I traveled with him a bunch. So I got to see it like, I really don't know. I was 12 when he passed away. It kind of sucks because I was just starting to learn, and then I disconnected so much from it. And like I never really got wrestling either. It's like, you know, being a kid, like especially during like the kayfabe, like when people were really, the territories and kayfabe was such a big thing. Like,
Mhm.
um, it's kind of weird when you have like, you know, I guess older teenagers, young adults getting so hyped up about something that you see it's just your stinky dad. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So I
Right.
was struggling with that. Like, I guess moving into that like preteen phase of my life before I lost him. But it's been really cool to like learn so much and to go back now that, um, I'm following it because of Braun Breaker. Um, and just, you know, learning about him through wrestling. It's a really cool thing. I feel very lucky to get to do that. But growing up, no. I mean, couldn't have cared less.
So growing up, I know you lost your dad at 12, which that is so young, and I'm sorry that you lost your dad. And my son is 12, so to think of like him losing his dad right now, that's like so heartbreaking, you know? Um, what was it like for you, if you don't mind talking about it?
Mm-hmm.
What was it like for you when your dad passed? And the reason why I asked this, I mean, obviously it's sad, right? Because you lost
Mm-hmm.
your dad. Like I expect that, but kind of more what I'm looking for is like I've always thought like when my dad dies, how like I feel like I'm gonna shut down all my social media because it's like I've spent my whole life sharing him, and in his death and in my grief, like I want to be in my grief by myself. Like I don't want to publicly do that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I almost feel like my cat is climbing my wall right now.
She wants your attention. It's her wall now.
Yes. Yeah. Uh wow.
You okay?
Okay. I'm just going to ignore all of that. Um so I feel almost like cuz people now share their stories with me, and I love hearing stories about my dad and how my dad has touched other people's lives, and how my dad played like a father figure for a lot of people that didn't have the father figure. And I feel like when my dad is gone, now I might feel differently when it actually happens, but I feel like when my dad is gone, I'm gonna be like, that's my dad. I don't care about your story. So you know what I mean? Like this is mine. You know what I mean?
Totally. I think I did go through that, and it's really strange because Kurt Hennig, who is Mr. Perfect. I'm not sure if you can put the name to the face there, but he passed away in 2003. We lost British Bulldog in 2002, I think. So it was like, and then like, I don't know. It's like I had a talk with him actually the week leading up to him passing away because he had spent like I think it was like almost a whole month in Japan not too long before then. And when you're so used to having them gone, was another thing that was really hard because he's not, when I was a little kid, he was on the road. They tell me 300 days out of the year, which it was a lot. So, like, I always felt like he wasn't just my dad. And he just loved kids anyway. It's like, you know, it's special to be able to grieve with strangers like that, and it's very heartwarming. And I don't know, it's just weird, because I did feel like, and I guess looking back on it and being like, you know having just like high pattern recognition and stuff, I did talk to him about, like I feel like you're gonna die. And maybe it was just like having we lost my grandma like 6 weeks before. And it was just a lot of death at that time, but we had to talk about it. And so when it happened, it was kind of like it was very special that I got to have that conversation with him. And I knew that it was then, but you know, that's hard to articulate as like a 12-year-old, and you're sharing grief with people.
Right.
It's interesting, but
Yeah.
just love, you know. Sometimes it still blows my mind that here's literally 20 years in September, and that I'm sitting on this podcast with you, that people want to talk about him, you know, and are interested still. It's really cool. So, and I don't feel that there's a like it's other wrestlers' kids know exactly what I'm talking about, and that's why it's been so special. But I'm special to connect with you and Travis and the Tentas and like George and stuff. And I don't know, it's been really nice.
It is really neat to be able to talk to other wrestlers' kids. I haven't, you're really the only wrestler's kid as an adult that I've talked to. Like I remember like Lord Alfred Hayes was very close to my dad and my family, but I was very young and we hung out with his children, but his children were a lot older than me and my sister. So I don't remember them very much. Um, Roddy Piper's kids, I met two of them. His youngest hadn't been born yet. And but they were babies. Like they don't, I'm sure they don't remember me at all. But like as
Um,
an adult, you're the only one that I've really talked to. And so it is like this, you immediately feel a camaraderie. Like I immediately felt a camaraderie with you just because you were the child of a wrestler. And it's like she knows
our
what it's
daddies
like.
danced together. They danced. That
Yes. Did your dad do that too? Was he like, oh, daddy's just dancing?
No, I don't know why I think of wrestling as like kind of like a dance, you know, like
It is,
for
yeah.
men. I guess it's for women too, but yeah, it's pretty intimate.
So whenever I would walk in on my dad watching old tapes of himself, because he would go back and watch his matches, and I'd walk in and I'd be like, Daddy, what are you doing? And he'd be like, Daddy's just dancing, and he would turn it off really quick. And so I always wondered, like as a child, like how many people was I like, my dad's a dancer. Yeah.
Nah, I mean, that is, I guess that makes me wonder, like, about how your dad is, like, you know, mask off, like Bob out and about, and how he acts, like, with people, and like how he is, because, like, I remember one time, uh, we were driving home from like softball practice or something, and there was a car of teenagers following like way too close, and so dad like slowed down to the point, let them pass, and then he rode their ass all the way to their driveway and got out of the truck and like scolded these kids. It was like, don't you ever take that curb, like, because it was a sharp turn and people have died like driving like an idiot at that spot. But like he was definitely what you see is what you get. Like, I wish he were still here. He was so funny.
Yeah.
But also, you can't pull up on people like that,
No.
especially nowadays. But, well, I don't know. I guess the 80s were probably a little crazier. So,
I feel like there's more guns now. You
yeah.
know, like everybody has. I feel like in the 80s, if you had a problem with someone, you like fought it out, and like now you shoot it out. I don't know how that works, but um I don't do that. I'm just saying. Um so we had a camouflage limo and it had my dad's name on it, like on every door in the back, on the trunk. And so we had someone follow us many times, but one
How did
time
they even
someone
see
was
it?
following us. I know it was camouflage. I don't know. Um they followed us and my dad was driving the limo, and they followed us like through the interstate, like all the way like to our town that we lived in, which was very far off of the interstate, you know what I mean? And so
Yeah.
my dad knew that there was this one road that it used to be a cul-de-sac, but then they built a road to it. They connected it to another road. So he went down and like turned around in the cul-de-sac.
Was he
And
hauling
so that we
ass?
were like head on with them, you know what I mean? And then they like slowed down and then went past us and went down that road. And my dad like hightailed it out of there to get us home. But otherwise, they would have followed us all the way home.
I would give anything to see your dad like putting to the pedal to the metal in a camouflage limousine. You know, and in my head, I was picturing like a limousine Hummer, like a Hummer
Right?
limousine for some reason. But I feel like I have to ask, was it like it wasn't a Hummer kind?
No, it was like a Cadillac, I think.
Oh, nice. See, getting picked up in limos was really fun as a kid.
Yes.
I
Okay,
forgot
so
about that.
I do have some questions that some people on Facebook had asked us. And so that was kind of one of the questions. So let's answer some of these questions.
Okay.
So what was home time like when your dads came home? So on the road a lot, like 300 days out of the year. So when your dad did come home, what was that like?
Um, it was so fun. He would visit. We would visit family when he's in town, or just we lived down like a mile dirt road, like back in the woods, and all of our neighbors were like his coaches, like in high school, like people that he grew up with. And so like, I mean, we would go on a 4-wheeler ride before school. And like I'm the kind of person, especially then I was a very shy kid and I did not like attention drawn to me whatsoever. But there were several times when, you know, I wanted to be on time. I wanted to get to school so that I'm sitting in the desk when the majority of the people walk in, so I don't have to walk in. Like it was some social anxiety, I
All
guess.
eyes
But
on you.
yeah.
Yeah.
And also he just did embarrassing stuff. But yeah, he would just take a dirt road, or we would go ride 4-wheelers before school and then take us to school. You know, just redneck stuff.
Cool. But that's so fun because it was like making memories, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I definitely am I mean, I just love my dad. He was so fun. But I'm so glad he did that with us, because at the time you're just like annoyed because you're a child. You don't know. You can't survive
Right.
without these people. But yeah, I didn't even hear like his blue uniform theme song until the Hall of Fame ceremony.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had no idea that existed.
Did you induct your dad into the Hall of Fame? Were you there for his Hall of Fame induction?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun.
Did you induct him or did someone else?
Yeah, I guess we gave a speech. I don't know if we inducted him, but I don't know how that works. Slick came out and then we came out. It's a bit of a blur.
What
So,
was it
but
like for you?
I mean, I never thought I would be in like around that again, because like I remember being a little kid and going into the locker rooms with him and stuff, and it just kind of like being there. But like I guess I forgot what that felt like, and it was nice to see like Terry and like everybody just kind of comes together, and just hearing stories about him, and it was amazing. But it was just a lot all at once. I guess like a couple years later I was like, actually that was really cool. But you know, it's just him. I wish he would have loved that. I often wonder like what he would be like. So hopefully it wouldn't be political. So
Um, so when my dad was inducted into the Hall of Fame, Pat Patterson was the one that inducted him. And we were just in the audience. So I didn't have to get up and speak. I don't think I could have. And Junkyard Dog was inducted at the same class as my dad, and his daughter got up and spoke. And afterwards, I told her, I was like, you were so composed. Like, I could barely watch my dad's induction without like bawling, crying. I can't even imagine like being up there giving a speech. So props to you because
it was a lot. I'm just remembering it, and then I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, Pat Patterson. Do you know anything about him?
so he and my dad were good friends, and there's this match that he and my dad did called the Alley Fight that everyone's always says is like the best wrestling match in history. It's like when it goes down as one of the greatest matches of all time. But I've seen it. I've seen parts of it because it's really long. There was like no rules, there was no referee, nothing like that. So it's really long and it goes out of the arena and back in the arena and all this stuff. So I've
What were
seen
they
it. It's
called?
very
What
bloody.
what kind of fight is that called?
It was an alley match
Oh,
or an
okay.
alley fight. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Because that's what.
But
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
what were you gonna say about Pat?
No, I was just asking about Pat because I couldn't remember. Like, I'm trying to like make sure I don't confuse people, but I wanted to talk about your dad because your dad mentored my dad.
Yes.
That's so cool.
My dad really liked your dad. And he was I wish could have maybe we'll do another show and have my dad on here and then he can like talk to you about your dad and
Okay.
like stories about your dad and stuff. I think like
Oh
stories
God.
from the road. I think that would be fun. But I know he really liked and respected your dad. I feel like they were like my dad was kind of on his way out. Like he wasn't really wrestling as much. Like he was like commissioner, he was a road agent when your dad was kind of coming in.
Yep.
Um, and so I don't think they ever wrestled. But they were friends. And your dad actually, my dad had a golf tournament, a celebrity golf tournament, and your dad came to it. It was in Florida, Miami. And that's where I met your dad, was at the golf tournament.
Oh, you met him?
Yeah, I met
Oh,
your
that's
dad.
sweet. I'm so glad you did because I forget. Like, that's also another thing that's been really nice about the wrestlers' kids is because I forget sometimes that I have friends who never met him, and like it's cool to. I think John Tenta had sent me a picture of him with a little him with dad backstage at an
Mhm.
event. So you guys did the golf tournament in Miami. How was that weekend? Was it on the weekend?
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I was there with my boyfriend at the time and the first year. And I think your dad was there both years, but I only met him one year. And I have a picture. I'm gonna have to look for it and see. It was me and your dad and my dad and a couple other wrestlers who I have no idea who they even are. Because I don't know. I didn't follow wrestling, so I don't know. But anyway, your dad put his armor. I remember him asking me how old I was and telling me that he had daughters around my age, like younger than me. Like I remember him talking about you. And somebody wanted to get our picture. And so we all stood in and he put his arm around me and he like started tickling me. And it hurt and tickled at the same time. So I'm like smiling, but also trying to get away. So it's just funny because other people probably can't tell in the picture, but because it's me, I can tell. I'm like,
he loved messing with people.
yeah.
One
But
time,
he was very nice, very nice. And
I'm
he was very funny too, I remember.
yeah, he was very funny. But yeah, I just taught myself not to be ticklish anymore. Like turn it off. So like it doesn't work. And
Yeah.
then I started what he did was he would prank at people, like he would prank people, and then I guess it just taught like us how to prank him too. And like a couple weeks before he passed away, I knew he got up at like sometimes in the night to make a sandwich, the most disgusting sandwich you could probably imagine. But like
What kind of sandwich? What was his late night snack?
like mayonnaise, peanut butter, like banana. Dude, he would honestly though, he would throw like some Cheetos on a sandwich. Kind of
That
slap.
sounds good. A little crunch.
But I was coming for him. And so I like went and hid it our like right in our pantry. Like you open the doors like this, and I got a stool so I could be eye level with him, and I waited in the pantry for him to come, and he opened the door and like he almost punched me in the face, and I got in trouble because like he was like, I really almost accidentally hurt you. You can't do that to me.
Like, Lacey, I almost killed you.
Yeah. But it was really funny to me.
So my dad would play, he called them ribs because that's what they called it in the business. They would rib each other. And that's like how they would get through being on the road for so long. They would just like do these pranks to each other. And so my dad would do that to us too. And so I also would get him back. And I just remember your story just reminded me of my bedroom was over the garage door. So when he came home late, it would wake me up because the garage door would open. And so I knew he was going to come in and check on me because he always would come home and check on me. And so I pretended to be asleep. And then as soon as he got close, I went, wow, like that. I'm surprised he did not have a heart attack because I have never seen my dad jump so far before. And then he like kind of got mad at me for scaring him, and then he left and he went back to my room. But yeah, we definitely had that too. Lots of ribbing. So there was a question of did you like him better as Big Bubba or Big Boss Man?
I know I don't know Big Bubba yet. I just start like I know they just had the action, like I know the aesthetic, but I don't know. Probably Big Boss Man. Yeah, alley matches. Because Dad did a lot of alley matches or hardcore matches too, which
Yeah, somebody just said they call the alley matches and now they call them street matches, I guess. I did not watch. Like when you and I went to wrestling, I was like so impressed by you because I'm like, you know who they are? I don't know who any of these people are.
yeah, I Natalia is she is I'm sorry. I can't think of his first name, but she's from the Hart family. I don't want to get it wrong. Cause like in my head I'm picturing Anvil, like the anvil,
I don't know.
but I
I
can't
have
remember the
no
first name.
idea.
Because I almost said Jimmy Hart, and I know for sure it's not Jimmy Hart. But anyways,
You
so
are
she's a
asking the
wrestler's kid
wrong
too. There are
person.
lots of second generation wrestlers out there, which is really cool to see because not just like in the WWE, but also in like the indie circuit, and I don't know. It's just been really interesting to get into because, like I said, I probably started well since Bronson's been in NXT.
Lacey, can you do me a favor?
Sure.
This is my friend Gaz right here. He said, woohoo, the slaughter daughter and big boss man's daughter. Let's go. So we always do a thumb kiss to Gaz. So a thumb kiss, you just kiss your thumb like that. Will you do that with me for Gaz?
Okay.
Ready? Thanks. That is
Just
Gaz
kidding.
is a good friend of mine, but he does a thumb kiss. It's from something famous and I don't
Oh,
know
okay.
what
I
it
was about
is
to
right
say
now.
the
Yeah.
only thing I'm used to throwing up is this one, so I just felt like
Oh, no, it's from like a show or something. I don't know. Um, but that's like his thing. So Natalia Nidhart,
Yep.
is that
Yeah.
name? Is that okay?
Hmm.
Also, there was an invitation here for you to come with me. So this is Joe Ricondo, and he is personally inviting you to Joe Fest this year. Come have fun with Kelly and all us nerds.
You got to
It's
sell
in
me on Joe
Augusta.
Fest. What's Joe Fest,
It's
Joe?
okay. So Joe Fest, it's in Augusta, Georgia. So it's not that far from you, right?
Okay. Nope.
And it's basically like a big toy con, like a toy convention. And my dad does it every year because it's like it
Oh,
started out as
awesome.
a GI Joe convention, so Joe Fest, but now it's like all different toys. Like they had like more than just GI Joe. And
Okay, I'm so glad you clarified that, Joe. I thought because your name is Joe, like it was just gonna be like
you're
a
like,
Joe
what is this Joe
Fest.
Fest
Like,
we're doing, Joe?
I need more information before I can agree. But no, that really sounds fun. I love seeing all of the figures they're making and stuff still. I hope, to see more. But it's been really cool. Like I can't believe they made a Big Bubba action figure.
Oh, did they? That's
Yeah.
cool. Well, hey, there might be something there, girl. If you want to, maybe we can talk to the people at Joe Fest and see about like if there's that figure out there and they want you there to sign them, maybe. Maybe.
Just yeah, I will definitely come and walk around your toy
Okay.
festival. Sounds so fun. I'm not being sarcastic.
It'll be fun because you and I
Yeah.
will be there.
No, and if your dad's gonna be there, I definitely want to come.
Yeah, my dad will be there. Jim Neidhart
Jim.
was her
Yep.
dad.
See, all I had to do was not say Jimmy, just Jim. It was just I have like a very like visual like memory, and I was like picturing Jimmy Hart's. Do you know Jimmy Hart? He's awesome. He's so sweet.
I know who he is. I don't think I've ever actually met him. Jimmy
Yeah.
Hart, the mouth of the South, right?
You know what? You have to figure out. You need to go and watch your dad's favorite VHSs of himself.
Okay.
Just for fun. I'll watch them with you.
Okay. We can do that.
You got to get some wrestling history
Yes.
on Sarge.
Sometimes, though, is it hard for you to watch your dad's matches?
It used to be until like I was talking to Bronson and he was like, we were watching your dad and during training at camp this week. And it's like it's just incredible honestly, they are like the athleticism and like the ability to like sell like a show like that in front of a live audience is like really cool. It's different. I don't know. It kind of reminds me, like, I remember my parents telling me about going to like the Rocky Horror Picture Show was it in the 80s?
Yeah, I think you can
It's
still
like
find places that do
interactive.
it, but yeah.
It's just crazy. It's just, I don't know. I didn't get wrestling for the longest. And then it was like a light switch. I was like, oh, I get it. You just have to really be able to suspend disbelief for a little bit. It's funnier because I guess like you know, what kids have their favorite superhero action figure growing up. And like I have all these action figures of my dad lying around. And actually WWE sent us like one of the new Mattel ones they just did. It was really nice.
Oh,
But
nice.
this one,
Oh, cool. Let me see how I can put you up there. Oh, no, not
yeah.
me. No, not me. How do I, wait, hold on. There we go.
Yeah, but I want to give one away, so I got to figure out how to do that. Probably on his
I don't,
Instagram is the way I.
okay,
Whoa.
will you put it
Oh,
back up now? Sorry. Will you put that back up? No,
oh yeah. Sorry, I didn't know that was
I'm
something.
sorry. I'm just learning.
We're just
That's so
girls.
cool. That's awesome. That's really cool.
It's very silly.
I don't know if they did one like that of my dad. I haven't seen anything like that of him.
They need to.
Someone saying Iraqi Sarge versus Boss Man would have been an awesome small feud. It would have.
Oh yeah.
That would have been good. Our dad's wrestling would have been great. Okay. Oh, they did? Cutthroat, they did one of my dad like that? I don't think I've seen it. Does that stretch? Is that a stretchy one?
I should open it.
Don't
No,
open it.
no. I mean, there's like a couple. Like I like to open like one, but no, it's a Mattel Series 10. I don't know. I'm sure they have one of your dad.
No, they're
Surely
saying no,
they
they don't.
probably do
They
it
don't have
all
one.
based on like. Cause is he in the video games?
He is, but I don't know if he's in the most recent one that they just did. So Wannabe Actors is saying that our dads tagged at WrestleMania 8. They tag teamed at WrestleMania 8.
They did dance.
I guess they did.
Maybe we'll have to watch that.
We do. We need
Give
to get
Sarge
together.
some notes. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Tell him how he could have done it better.
You make me want to puke.
Yeah, but don't open that because the toy collectors on here are probably going to have a heart attack if you open that. Hey, Sean. Okay, so another question was, and this is a question I get asked a lot. So, what was the best part of being a wrestler's kid? Not just any wrestler, but our dads were superstars. So, what was it like being the daughter of a wrestling superstar?
Embarrassing at the time. I mean, but it's camp. It's very camp now. It's at the time I mean, it was really fun. It was really fun, I guess, seeing like the production side of how they put together shows like that. And he would work with like USA Network, and this is when like my mom knows this story, but apparently like Ted Turner, like he helped like buy like my dad's name. Like he owns like, I don't know what it all is, but it was like a super expensive legal matter that Ted Turner funded to like get him on their network. Like, I don't know. I'm still
Oh,
learning about it.
wow.
I want to write a book, but I'm like going through all of his journals and stuff and just trying to collect things. So,
That's cool that your dad journaled.
like, I'll go back and like listen to our conversation because I'm like, you're triggering memories for me and stuff. And like, yeah, but he wrote a lot. He's not very good at spelling. But
That's okay. There's no autocorrect when you write stuff.
true. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, I'm so thankful that I didn't have a childhood where we have social media like we did today.
Oh, Nails beat up Sarge and then Boss Man avenged it. So your dad came to my dad's rescue. That's so awesome. Yes. Thanks for that, Sean. I love it. Um, so for me, the best thing about being a wrestler's daughter were the perks because being a wrestler's daughter sucked because he was gone all the time. So it was like I really didn't my mom was like a single mom basically because my dad
Yeah.
was never home. So it totally sucked being the daughter of a wrestler for that reason because my dad was never home. So the perks of him being a wrestler were the best parts because I mean that was like it was like the give and take. Like we give up him being at home with us so that we could have a trip to Disney where it's like
Yeah, exactly.
he's there for
You should have
yeah.
my mom on sometime, like, because like I said, I was really young. So my mom was just like so amazing, you know, all of the moms, you know, because they traveled
Yeah.
together, like, you know, is it's really weird
Yes.
sometimes.
It was weird because your dad is gone all the time and then when he is home it was like a holiday. At least for us it was like a holiday. It was like Christmas every time he came home because he would bring presents. He would bring us gifts and my mom would make his like favorite meal or make some like extravagant meal. One time she made lamb with mint jelly and I was really little and I thought mint jelly was weird. So that's like a memory that's like ingrained in my head is this mint jelly with lamb. Um, but she would make these extravagant meals and it was literally like a holiday and then it was like don't wake up your dad. Your dad's been on the
Oh yeah.
road. Like, let him sleep. And it was like he was like the superstar almost. Even though Sarge wasn't allowed in the house, like, we still had to accommodate for the fact that he had been
Did he
gone.
have
And now,
injuries and stuff?
yeah, he would
That
come
was
home and he'd
so
be hurt.
awful. Yeah.
And that's another thing too, because people are like wrestling's fake, which
Mm.
okay, it's choreographed. Like they know what they're going to do usually before they get in there. Like they know what the outcome's going to be. They've talked about the match. They've kind of gone through the match and what they're going to do beforehand and they talk through it while they're doing it. And they know what they're going to do, right? But it still hurts.
Yeah.
Things still go wrong. Moves don't always go right. And people would say like he's not really getting hurt and even my dad would say because my sister and I would get very upset when we would watch him wrestle even though he told us that he wasn't getting hurt because he was coming home getting hurt like we knew he was getting hurt because he would come home hurt. So it's like I know you're lying to me because you are getting hurt. And this whole like that's daddy's friend. No, it's not. He's hurting you. you
Oh,
know
so were your parents like, we're not going to talk about this or even go there? Because, like, I feel like with dad, he, like, it's such a weird boundary thing when it comes to your family, right? Like, um, but when I remember people throwing batteries at us, like, from the stands, like, it was, I mean, it's a very interesting, the history of wrestling, and it's kind of, I mean, of course it's fake, but so is reality TV. Kardashians totally steal like the kayfabe blueprint. All of that does. It's not. I don't know. I like really really struggled with understanding like the appeal to wrestling, and then man, I can't remember the philosopher, but like, I mean, it's in Genesis, I think, like Jacob wrestled an angel, like wrestled against himself. Like, it's wrestling. Like, it's better for it to be fake. They, of course, like, there's an art to it. Because, like, I remember the UFC, I think, was kind of at the beginning back then, too. And so, like, I remember Dad, he was just very interested in UFC. And, like, I don't know. Sorry, I have ADHD. I just went off on a tangent there.
No, that's totally fine. No, I think people it's like one of those things with wrestling, right? Like these are characters that they play, and people think it's real. They think like people thought my dad was really a Marine. That was his gimmick. And back then, you lived your gimmick and you never broke kayfabe. But with your dad was a corrections officer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. He was. And that the whole cop.
When your parents, he was a cop.
Yeah. But it's like I don't know. I don't know. I just cops. I'm like
So
like
when
people
you're
like he would get pulled over for speeding and like be able to pull out an autograph picture and like sign the picture and just like it was strange because I'm like,
yeah,
this isn't. Anyway, I got all too philosophical there. It's gonna go off on a tangent.
no, that's okay. My dad was the same way. We were in a small town, whereas you guys lived like where your dad grew up,
right?
right?
And I love all of the police. Like I know, like and love people who, are cops or like in government positions and stuff. And it's just a wait, what was that question? The political stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah. It was just said the Iraqi sympathizer period must have been brutal for my family. Yes, it was absolutely brutal. My dad had death threats. We had death threats, bomb threats. Yeah, we had 24-hour security living in a Winnebago outside of our house. They followed us everywhere we went.
Wait,
there were
what?
Yeah, so when my dad was an Iraqi sympathizer, people went crazy and they wanted to kill my dad and they wanted to kill Vince and they wanted to bomb the WWE offices in Stanford and they were going to come after not only my dad but his family, and they knew me and my sister's names. They knew where we lived, they knew our address, and they knew where we went to school. I did not know. I found out about that when we filmed the biography on A&E for my dad. There is a clip where I literally find out on camera. I was like, "What? I didn't know that."
I have to watch
And they
that.
used that clip. Yeah.
Okay.
I did not know that they knew me and my sister's names. Yeah, it was really bad. That time frame. And I also got it really bad in school from the kids. The other kids made fun of me and bullied me for it. But
I think that might be
really don't like
worse
saying,
than like getting fed at your own dog. I'm just kidding. That is so crazy. like I have so much like research to do. I'm so interested. Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah, that's a lot, Kelly.
Yes. So it was a lot. And like I think I was scared at the time, but I was in 6th grade. So I was like 12. So I was my son's age. And although he's going into 7th grade now. Um but I can't imagine the way the kids were so mean to me over my dad, people being mean to my son like that. You know what I mean? Like how hard that must have been for my dad and for my mom. I think it created more resentment from my mom towards my dad because she didn't like wrestling to begin with.
Mm.
Um, and then to see us go through all of that, like my dad seeing us go through all of that, and it was because of him. And, it was mainly me because my sister was 4 years older and the kids didn't treat her like that. And if they did, she just ignored it. Whereas I was younger and I took it very personally because that's my dad. And so I I just used the term bullied, like the kids bullied me, but I don't necessarily even want to use that term because I feel like I gave it right back to them. You know what I mean? Like I didn't just sit there and take it and be like, "Oh, woe is me." You know what I mean? Like they're being so mean to me. I'd be like, "Well, screw you too." And you know what I mean? Like I gave it right back to them. That doesn't mean it didn't hurt at all. You know what I mean? But yeah, but there's a question here for you about backlash from your dad with was it was Pepper, right? Al Snow's dog, Pepper.
Yeah. That's just it's so camp. But I mean, thankfully my parents were just very like involved in the school system and like with the county and stuff. Like I really had great teachers and like um everybody pretty much it's like I felt like maybe it was he had been involved in the community so much like there was such a love for him there like I didn't really like I don't think I really got bullied. If I did, I'm too aloof to have noticed it. And, I just, but I can't, like, I'm going to do some more research on, like, the everything going on there with what, because that is just crazy. Like, very dangerous almost for them. They couldn't have had a different storyline.
Well, when they started the Iraqi sympathizer, there was no
But I
war.
mean,
There
it's
was just
for
like
hate.
tension.
Oh, I mean, wrestling, I feel like if you in a way it's kind of like you can get a sense about like the zeitgeist like the cultural zeitgeist globally in this weird way like
Hmm.
because if you what's happening especially back during that period like what's happening like I would say sorry I'm trying not to get lost on that thought there but
Hey, girl, I've got ADHD too, so I do the same thing. Like mid-sentence, I'll stop and be like, "Wait, what was I saying?"
yeah, it's too much to say, and sometimes it just comes out, and it's need to shave off
Yeah,
like thought there, slow down a bit. But it's very
yeah.
interesting. I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was, but to be honest with you, you guys, like back then, I didn't really get it because I knew that was my dad and he really didn't think those things. And like, how can anyone really think that my dad would think those things? And like, the kids in my school, like, they knew my dad because it was a small town and my dad had come and done things at the school. And like, there were 92 people in my class, like in my grade. They all knew me. They all knew my dad. They'd all met my dad. They'd all talked to my dad. They'd all probably been at my house at one point in time. So it's like they knew my dad. So it was more like, I I think it was just a way to get at me. Um, but for the actual like fans out there that didn't know us personally, looking back on it and going back and watching promos of my dad at that time period, like Lacey, I'm telling you, I watched promos of my dad back then with my dad. And my heart was like beating. Like I started getting like mad at this guy that I'm watching on YouTube talk like all this crap about the US of A. You know what I mean? And I'm getting mad, 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 mad. And finally, I was like, God, no wonder people wanted to kill you because I want to kill you right now. And this was like 30 years ago, you know?
Pioneers.
He
Dang.
was so good at what he did. You know what I mean? That he even got me, his own daughter, who lived through it 30 years later, getting
It,
mad at him over it. But
it's professional wrestling career that spans like from freaking the new millennium. You know what I mean? And then I was in, dang, wow, I hate to ask you this, but do you remember how old you were when 9/11 happened?
yes, I was in my
Excuse me, guys.
20s. I was working, like I was working. Yeah. How old
I
was
was
that?
in
That was in
4th grade. So, and I remember because I remember traveling with him because, like, before 9/11, you could walk like all the way to the terminal. Like, the airport changed so
yes,
much. And so I was
yes.
just wondering if you lived or thought about that at all, too.
So 20, that was 2001, right? I was 22. I was 22. Sorry, I can't math. I have to use my calculator. But I was 22, and that makes me feel really old that you were in fourth grade.
It's crazy.
But yeah, so I remember before 9/11, you could walk all the way to the gate. You didn't have to have a ticket. You could walk all the way to the gate. Whether you were meeting someone or dropping someone off at the airport, you could say goodbye or you could wait for them at the gate. And now you have to do everything at baggage claim. But
Yeah.
when 9/11 happened, my dad was in the air. He was on a plane
Oh my goodness. I think,
and they grounded the
thank
plane in
goodness.
Houston.
I wonder if, I can't remember if dad was or not, but I remember it changed like that because New York is probably where I've been the most, like with him, like up at Madison Square Garden. Like
Hmm.
that's, I remember like even going like to house shows and stuff if it wasn't live on air. But I think about, I don't know, I just wanted to ask you about that because I'm sure like your dad, I mean, I can't imagine being, did you guys know that how far away was he from being to his destination when it happened?
So I've never been able to keep up with my dad's schedule. Like he'll tell me I'm going to be here and then I'm going to be here and then I'm going to be here. I'm like, yeah, I'll just like call you because I can't keep up with where you're at, you know? So I knew he wasn't home when it happened, but I didn't know where in the country he was. He very well could have been on one of the planes that crashed into the tower, into the Pentagon. He was in the air, and who knows if there was somebody on the plane because they remember when the planes hit, they grounded all the planes. And so he was in the air and it was an emergency landing into Houston, Texas. And I think he was flying from maybe California to Charlotte. Like I think he was coming home, but he was grounded in Houston and then he was stuck in Houston because there were no planes flying and then everyone was renting all the cars and so he just stayed in Houston for a couple days and then he was on one of the first planes back up in the air from Houston to Charlotte. And it was really scary for me because I was at work. Nobody knew what was going on. I kept calling my dad on his cell phone and it was going like straight. It wasn't even going through. Like it wasn't ringing. You just got like that, like the signal that the call's not
Mhm.
going through. None of the
Oh, yeah.
calls were going through. And um, I just remember freaking out, not knowing where my dad was. And then I finally got in touch with my mom and she was like, no, your dad, was on his way home from wherever it was. I want to say it was California. But she had finally been able to talk to him and said that he was in Houston and that he was okay. But he did say that the first flight after 9/11 happened, they made him get rid of like his nail, like a nail file and like nail clippers and things like that. And he had like a Swiss Army knife his dad had given him that he would carry around in his ditty bag, his itty bitty ditty bag. And that's a GI Joe reference, sorry. And they made him throw it all away going through security. And he had to throw it all away, including the pocket knife that was his dad's,
No.
my grandfather's. And went through security and then he went to one of the stores in the airport and bought everything that they just made him throw away.
It's about like that now.
He's like, so I just went to the store and bought a whole nail kit, and it was everything that they made me throw away, minus the knife, obviously, but like, like the little cuticle scissors and like nail clippers and stuff. They made him throw all of that away, and then as soon as he went through security, he bought another nail kit. So,
What a crazy time.
anyway, there is a question here about a Big Boss Man biography. Have there been any rumblings about,
Yeah,
can you say? Okay,
we are working on it. So, and like
nice.
I said, he kept journals. So it's just like kind of trying to put it together and get it going. But yeah, I'm, if it, it's crazy that to me, that people want a biography about him. Like,
Do you feel like when people are like so excited about, oh my God, your dad's Big Boss Man and like all this stuff, are you like, it's just my dad. He's kind of a dork. you know?
yeah, I don't, I mean, I guess I just, like, I didn't really I didn't care about it, honestly, until the last. I mean, I enjoyed like going to events with people because it was fun and like, especially like I had some friends who were following wrestling and like, I don't know, I forgot where I was going with that.
Do you, there was a question here about your dad hanging from a cage. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
People called 911 thinking it was real. I don't remember. I didn't watch, so I have no idea what they're talking about.
The one with nails, I guess nails put him in the hospital, and that one, like, people were.
Like really freaking out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just haven't thought about that in so long. Yeah. There were a couple of
All
times
right.
where things went wrong, like especially like using like glass, like things not being what's it, gimmicked, like chairs, and like, I mean, it really is. Sometimes I forget how much pain I saw my dad in.
And that like brings me back to the whole wrestling is fake comments because it's like, but it's not because our dads are getting like really hurt.
Not just our dads.
People
People
have
lost their
died.
lives.
Yes, people have died. Yeah. It's unbelievable. Some people I should say are unbelievable. Was your dad really 6'6"?
Mm-hmm. That was without his
You're
boots
tall.
on.
How tall are you?
about 5'11", six, right at there.
Have
Probably
you ever
taller than.
thought about getting into wrestling?
No, I wonder if he were. I don't. Maybe I feel like it would have been fun to do like the production side or something, but I can't. I can't. It takes a special kind of. I just. I think. I don't know. I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could do it. Not unless it was like. I don't know. Never. What about you?
Would you do like the manager side, like be a
Yeah, that would
manager
be
and like come
fun.
out and
Yeah.
yeah.
I just.
So I wanted to be a wrestler when I was little, but the women in wrestling back then, because I am so much older than you, the women in wrestling then were like arm candy. It was like Miss Elizabeth and like, you know what I mean? Like it was just there weren't a lot of like there weren't any female wrestlers doing what I wanted to do, which was wrestle the boys. Like I wanted to wrestle the men. I didn't want to wrestle the girls. I didn't want this cat fighting that I saw in Glow. It
Yeah.
was very campy. Wrestling is campy anyway, but Glow was like super campy. It was meant to be that way. And that's not I'm not taking anything away from those women wrestlers. Like they did a wonderful job. It's just not what I wanted to do. I wanted to wrestle the men and beat the crap out of the guys. That's what I wanted to do. And there was no one doing that. And my dad did not want me to. So there was no encouraging it. Um, he still doesn't want me to wrestle. Like I was like all gung ho. Like I'm like, Dad, like I want hook me up with George South. Like I want
I
to go
love
train.
George.
Yes, I'm like, I want to go train. And then I kept getting hurt. I tore my meniscus in my knee, then I tore my rotator cuff, then I tore my plantar fascia in my freaking foot. I'm like, I think my body is trying to tell me, like, wrestling, probably I'm too old for.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. I I'm 32. I think, yeah, I turned 32 this year. 31 or 32. But I do
I
notice,
think you're still young. You could do it.
yeah, for sure.
You could do it if you wanted
Yeah,
to.
I don't know.
If you wanted to. If you don't want to do it, listen, my dad says you don't get into wrestling unless you want to wrestle, unless you love wrestling. Like you don't become a wrestler unless you love wrestling. Like
Makes
you don't
sense.
just do it just because, you know what I mean?
Dance. They love
Yeah.
to dance.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Um what's your favorite TV show?
Oh man. Probably The Sopranos.
Nice.
Yeah. And we've been watching like the House of the Dragon and Game of Thrones.
So don't tell me anything about House of the Dragon. I was actually supposed to do a podcast today with my friend Ken right here, Mr. Toy Connections. And I had to cancel on him because I didn't finish watching it. So don't tell me anything. I have like half of the last episode I need to finish watching. But yes, I love House of the Dragon too.
Yeah, I think I was like, man, maybe I'll read the books. But I didn't know they were books until TikTok.
So I knew the Game of Thrones books were books. I read those, but I didn't know that he wrote a book about that House of the Dragon is based on. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's like a whole separate book that he wrote. I mean, obviously the Targaryen story is throughout the Game of Thrones books, but
Okay,
I
I
didn't know
got you
that it was
talking about. I
actually like
got you talking about it. We can, because you got to do your podcast. I could talk
well,
about
no.
the House of the
I,
Dragon.
okay, so Ken just said he's gonna ruin it for us. The dire wolf eats all the dragon eggs, and season 3 is canceled. There you go.
Can't believe Sir Kristen Cole's living to be in another season. Fire and Blood. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they're
I
on.
had no idea, Ken. I had no idea that that was a book until I started see after the show started. Because had I known, I would have read the book before the show. Because that's what I did with Game of Thrones. Is I read the book. I'd read the book, and then they would show the season, and then I'd read the next book and watch the next season. Um. Okay. How did your dad get into wrestling?
He was just a sports guy. Like he played all the sports, and
So
he
that was
was
going to be my next question was,
wrestled in
did he play
high school.
sports? Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sorry, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
no, you're
interrupt you. But
fine.
that was going to be my next question was like, what sports did he play?
Um he did shot put, track. He played football. I think he always said he like wished he would have gone playing baseball. But he played football and then wrestling. Yeah, he was he's an athletic guy. He's always been like a big dude though. I mean, I forget sometimes when I go to like wrestling, I forget like, oh wow, I'm pretty tall cuz like maybe I think on some of his toys it says that he's 6'7". Shoot.
He was tall. My dad was billed at 6'6", and I feel like your dad was taller than my dad.
They say you shrink as you age if you don't
Yeah.
stretch.
Well, what happens is you, so as a former massage therapist, let me tell you what happens. Um, your muscles they shorten, and so you don't like your bones don't get shorter, your body does. Like you start becoming more hunched over. And so that's why you have the appearance of being shorter as you get older. Um,
Posture.
yeah,
And
posture is a
stretching.
huge thing.
Yeah, I need to stretch.
What does what does your son think about his grandpa? Like, does he know that he was Big Boss Man? Does he know that he was this legendary wrestler?
I think I don't really know. He's just grouchy. Like I don't know. He's not really connected with it, I guess. But he thinks it's
Now,
cool.
yeah, it's the same with my kids because it's grandpa. Like, it's not like, I think that's something that is hard for people to understand that, like, my dad portrays a character named Sergeant Slaughter. Like, your dad portrayed a character named Big Boss Man. Like, that's not who they were. Like, my dad is Daddy, Dad, Bob, Robert. You know what I mean? Like, that's not who he was. And he didn't act like that at home.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like if you think about like people whose dads aren't famous, like do they, because people be like, "Oh, did you meet so and so? Did you meet so and so?" And it's like, "Yeah, I probably did, but it wasn't like that." It was I was being introduced to my dad's friend, not like, "Kelly, you gotta meet so and so. He's the greatest wrestler of all time." Like it wasn't like that. It was just like, "Hey, say hey to Uncle Roddy." You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Roddy's here, Uncle Don's here. Like
Uncle
it wasn't
Steiner.
like,
Rex Steiner.
yeah, like it
Yeah.
wasn't like, you know
Um.
what I mean? So with our kids, like I'm not like, Rudy, your grandpa is like one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. It's like, hey, Rudy, your grandpa is the best grandpa
Yeah.
ever. And it's not because of who he portrayed on TV and the things that he did on TV, he's the best grandpa because he's your grandpa and he loves you and he spoils you and you know what I mean? Like it's not like
Mhm. Yeah, I
so
really
I'm
wish
with you on that.
my kids could have their grandpa because he would be so much
Yeah.
fun. So it's
Yeah.
very special. Cherish him. I know you guys do. You were just, did you guys go on a family vacation before school started back?
Yes. So we had my parents get a beach house, they rent out the same beach house a couple times throughout the year, and they usually get it for the whole month of August. And so we usually go down for 2 weeks, but they keep starting school earlier and earlier. So we got like gypped out of a whole week.
Oh no. They
But
did start
yeah, we
school
go,
early this year.
yeah. But we do. We try to, make sure that we all get to spend some time together and um it's nice that beach house. It's like two levels, so we rent out one floor and then another family that we've known forever rents out the other floor. So it's like two family vacations and then we're also
Oh,
vacationing
that's
together
awesome.
as
That
friends.
makes it
Yeah.
more fun.
Yeah, it does. It does. Um, I will say, having met your son, he looks just like your dad.
Yeah.
Just like your dad. Like I was like, oh my God, that's your dad is like right there in mini form.
Dude, he's something
There.
else too. He's funny. I guess, I mean, I get the one thing dad, like, I'll give him credit, like, you gotta have a hell of a sense of humor about it all.
Yeah.
So I am grateful to him for that because, yeah, it
Yeah.
was it's wild, but very camp. I can't believe like how camp Sarge is. I'm so excited to meet him because I was at a convention he was at, and I was like, he won't know who I am. I'm not gonna bother him. I was chilling
He,
with Don Fry, who I didn't know. He's a UFC guy, but it's so crazy, like to go to those conventions and stuff, and like you were just saying, like talk with people. Like, do you go? Have you ever been to one? My first one, I think, was
so
like last year or the year before. Well, since I was like told I was going by my parents. One time we went to this toy expo in New York. I felt that was the craziest day of my life. I got like a garbage bag of toys, samples of toys. It was crazy. And I
that
got babysat by like a stage, like I don't know, somebody was just like, because I guess it was during a signing or something. I didn't know what he was doing. They were like, "Do you want one?" I was like, it was like the year Furbies came out or something ridiculous. Oh my god!
nice.
But
So did you get a Furby?
no, they gave me a stuffed animal version, but this was like that. They were very creepy. They rebooted them, I think, but
Yeah.
I'm glad we. I have a maybe I don't know. I don't know what the Furby demographic of kids who want that. Little girls, probably.
I don't know. My daughter wanted one, so she got one. I think it was kind of like for anyone, really. It was like both. It was gender neutral, I feel like. But I don't
We
know.
should
My son didn't want one, but my daughter did. So
we should make like
does
a Sergeant Slaughter Furby. Like send
it
him like a drawing and like
can have a hat.
in an
Yeah.
email and be like, "This is let me run this proposal."
Um, did you ever did you ever use your dad to your
Excuse
advantage?
me.
Like who your dad was? Like, did you ever, like if kids were being mean to you or like boys were being mean to you, it'd be like, my dad'll beat your dad up. Or like, my dad,
Yeah,
do you know
probably.
who my dad is?
Or I would just feel like I could whoop their ass, and then it's just like, like bless your heart kind of thing. You just watch people, let them. Come on, like I don't know. Excuse me, but yeah,
It's okay, I'm coughing too.
I never like tell. Like the timing just has to be right. I don't really like. I'm still, I guess, getting used to the idea of talking about it in a way. Does that make
Hmm.
sense?
Yes. Yes, it does make sense. I totally used it a lot when I was little, but I would also do what you do, and I just like want to beat them up myself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I always wanted to act like I was all tough and but people also expect that out of me because of who my dad is. Like, your
Yeah.
dad's Sergeant Slaughter, you should be able to pick that up. Your dad's Sergeant Slaughter, you should be able to wrestle. Your dad's Sergeant Slaughter, you should be able to do this. Your dad's Sergeant Slaughter, you must be rich. It's like, no. I am none of those things. Well, I don't know. I like to think I'm tough. I got to the beach and I unloaded the cars and I was carrying stuff up and my dad was like, "Whoa," he couldn't believe how much I was like carrying at one time. I'm pretty strong. I do Spartan races. I don't know. I think I'm pretty tough when it comes to certain
You
things,
don't want to
but
hurt somebody for real. Even on accident. You could accidentally hurt somebody. Yeah, I've accidentally hurt people. Like just playing
yeah.
sports, like when you're like I guess I was like kind of like dad in that way too. Like they're faster than they look
Mhm.
a little bit. But also, I don't know. I Nobody's ever tried to fight me, so I don't know how we got on that. I was just like imagining what I would do. I wouldn't fight fair.
No. I,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to fight fair. It's not wrestling. It's not choreographed. This is a street fight. We're getting down and dirty, and I'm gonna try to poke your eyeballs out of your head.
Yeah. One of us is gonna get accidentally hurt. Or
Yeah.
like I mean like yeah. I don't want to fake fight with people. I don't want to real fight with people. I don't know.
I've I definitely I feel like people um tend to back down a lot. Like they try me and then I don't back down, so then they back down. Because I'm like, "Oh, really? You want to go? We can go." You know?
Yeah, I actually like my fiance was like, when people say something mean to you, you can't just pop off at people like you want to because some people are insane.
Okay, you're like bringing up a really good point right now.
Atticus. What are you measuring? He said, I
Hey,
don't
Atticus.
know.
Um, you're bringing up a good point, and now I missed the point now. What was it? Oh, so this is something that you and I kind of talked about before, like behind the scenes, whereas people don't realize that like they get on, you get these trolls talking smack to you on the internet. And it's like, do people not realize that our dads literally got paid to talk smack and to beat people up? Like, that is what I lived with and grew up with. Like, that's how my dad made his living. And although Sarge wasn't allowed in the house, um he still got mad at me. Like we still got into he was still my dad and we still got into arguments and fights and stuff. And I would put on skits sometimes and I would always want to like ad lib it or not ad lib. Yeah,
Improvise.
ad lib. I'd want to just like ad lib and he would annihilate me because he would like go off on me in these skits and then I'd be left like I wouldn't know what to say back. So it's like he and I always had this back and forth with each other. And I would see it on TV sometimes with my dad, like the promos that he would do. So it's like, do these people really think that they're bothering us?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I feel the more unbothered you can be about everything, the better.
Yeah.
Like I especially you can't there's a weird parasocial relationships.
It's like we find it funny. Like you're saying, you're talking smack to me thinking I'm gonna get like all upset, but I find it funny. And then I come back at you and I say something that's like ridiculous and funny and like going off on you, and then you get mad at me for coming back at you know what I mean? It's like I thought this was a fun thing that we were doing and now you're getting mad. And I can always tell when I've like quote unquote won the argument is when they go after my looks.
Oh, you're talking about making men mad. It's so fun to do. It's
Anyone.
so
Yeah.
easy to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, like
But I can always tell that
um
I've won is because they go after my
they
looks. They'll
get
say
so
something about my
emotional. They'll be
body.
like, women are so emotional, and then I'm like, no, just not.
Right.
I don't. We can be nice. We can all be nice to each other. I had this one. Well, I haven't been on Dad's Insta. Like I haven't really like. I got locked out of it for a couple of months, but nobody ever really is disrespectful, thankfully, especially anymore. I mean, it's been 20 years, but I can't imagine like the stories that I'll never hear of what Dad had experienced on the road.
Happy birthday, Jonathan, next
Excuse
month.
me. Say what?
Yeah, I was just saying happy birthday. You want to say happy birthday to Jonathan? It's his birthday next month, September the 5th. He'll be 37. He does a lot of voices.
Happy birthday, Jonathan.
Um, did you ever have anyone want to be your friend specifically because of who your dad was?
Probably.
Did you ever, because I would have people that would want to be my friends so they could get an autograph or a wrestling tickets or a meet and greet. Um, I had this guy one time, um, he became my friend on the bus and he was a grade older than me. So the only time we saw each other was on the bus and he became my friend on the bus. And I was new, so I didn't really have like a lot of friends. And so he befriended me and he like we set up a play date and he came over and when he showed up at the door, my mom met him and his mom at the door. And his mom immediately we opened the door and I'm like all excited that my friend's here. And his mom started saying to my mom, like, I'm so glad that your husband agreed to do this. My mom was like, what are you talking about? And she was like, well, isn't he gonna like, he basically, she was like, aren't we having a meet and greet right now with your husband, my dad? And my mom was like, what? So my dad was home and she like went down and got my dad and brought him out and he like gave him an autograph and took pictures and everything and then they left and he never talked to me again after that. He didn't even play with me. Like he was coming over to play. He didn't even play.
I
So
guess I
that
mean,
kind of stuff used to happen to me all the time. And like as I got older, I got better at like recognizing it and seeing when people were like using me. And
yeah.
then as an adult, it really didn't happen, but it did just recently happen last year to me, where somebody used me to get to my dad. And it was really sad, but it is what it is. Lesson learned. Um, but did you ever have that? I know you said probably.
I knew there were adults, like people, I didn't really like. Um, I don't want to say too much, but like, I mean, I think my parents protected us a lot because I mean, it had to have been, but you know, I was kind of born in a time where like I think Dakota is around my age. Like the kids were a little older than me, and then there were kids younger than me. Does that make sense?
Hmm.
I don't know. I grew up um like I totally forgot what the original question was.
So did you ever have kids try to befriend you to get to your dad? Like they just wanted to be your friend because they wanted to meet your dad.
I don't think not. I mean, probably, and I didn't. I don't know. I don't know. I
I
don't really
dated
know.
this guy one time and we
Ew.
went out to a club where my friend was. Like we met some of my friends out at a club. I was dating this guy. And I had like, she was like, "Where's your boy? Like, where's your date or whatever?" And I like pointed him out to her. They didn't like actually meet. And she was like, "Oh, okay." And then like whatever throughout the night, she came back up to me later and she was like, "Your boyfriend or your guy that you were just talking to was just talking to a friend of his saying that he was this close to securing wrestling tickets." And I was like, "Bye." I think I ended up like leaving him at the club. Like I think I just like
Dude, your
left and
dad
then
should have
like
picked
never.
you up in that camo limousine.
Yeah. And I could have waved at him. Bye.
Rip
We'll
two
never have
tickets.
this again, you know?
Rip two tickets up into little tiny pieces and just
Throwing
throw
it
it
at
at
him.
him.
But like kept the part that had the barcode. So if he put it together, he didn't have the part he needed. Yeah.
Yeah, it would
So
have
like
been
things
really
like that would happen.
embarrassing to have to like
Yeah.
deal with dad and all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Not fun. Not fun. Um, I definitely had like a core group of friends that like
good,
would
good.
protect me and things like that too. Um, and then when I was younger, obviously my parents would try to protect me, but I remember that one boy when he came and then he never freaking talked to me again. Like he didn't play with me that day. And then the next time it was like a school day on the bus, like he didn't sit with me. He like acted like he didn't even know who I was. So I'm glad that that never happened to you
Good. Yeah,
because it
because
wasn't fun.
ghosting, like, ghost me. I love paranormal activity at this point. Like, yeah, that's ridiculous to think that. Also, it's wrestling. Like, you don't want to get laid. You want wrestling tickets. Kind of a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. Did you tell him no tickets for you, Maggot? I never spoke to him again. I left him at the club
You
and
should
never
you should
talked
have
to him
gotten some
ever again.
maggots and just threw them on them. No, don't do
Yeah,
that. I hate maggots. I'd be so
yeah.
terrified.
Maggots. I should have thrown a bunch of maggots
We
on him.
gotta
That would have been
watch
great.
that match though. We gotta do our
We
wrestling
do. We need to get
homework.
together and do that for sure. Um, I think all the questions that people have asked previously I've already
Awesome.
gone through, and I don't see any other questions here. I think I've answered all of them.
Well, thank you guys for watching. This is a new.
Yes. So someone's suggesting you do a live reaction of watching the finish of the match where Undertaker hung your dad from the cage. I don't even know how you would do that. Like, like if you and I wanted to watch our dad's match, because I think that we would get a copyright strike. If we were like watching it together, like, you know what I mean? We'd have to watch it and then come live together. Like we wouldn't be able to like react at the same time we were watching it, if that makes sense. Yeah, guys, it totally sucked. And it really sucks when it happens as an adult and it's someone that you think is your friend.
Yeah.
But yeah. Do you have a nightstick? Do you
My
have
mom
any of
has
your
the
dad's?
nightsticks. Yeah. Yeah. So we've actually, man, like I said, I thought I had all of his journals, and then when I was up with my mom last time, like they found even more. And she said there's like a whole nother bag. So it's
Wow. Well,
and
I'm
it's
really looking forward to when you get it all together.
yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. So, but yeah, I mean, surely I'm definitely gonna watch your dad's biography on A&E. So next time we talk.
There's this girl in the biography, and she's wearing this blue dress, and she kind of looks like me. She resembles me a lot, but she's crying the entire show, and just you can just ignore her. Girl, I cried the whole freaking show, and they freaking put all of my crying on the show.
I'm sure you look beautiful.
I was very nervous, and when I get when I have big emotions, I think it comes out in tears. So I'm really happy, I cry, really sad, I cry. If I'm really angry, I cry. So if I'm ever yelling at you and I'm crying, you better run
Yeah.
because
I'm
I'm
crying.
really mad at you. Um, but I was really nervous anyway. And so I knew I was going to cry. I was also PMSing. And then my dad told me it was 20 minutes from his house. So I'm always late anyway. So I left like I was already going to be 10 minutes late, right? So it was supposed to be 20 minutes. I'm going to get there in 30 minutes, right? I'm going to be 30 up. I was supposed to be there at like 2 o'clock, right? And I'm like, I'll be there at 2:10. It'll be fine. I'll be there at 2:10. I'm only going to be 10 minutes late. It was 40 minutes away. So I was almost an hour late.
Well, you know what? My dad said that if you're gonna be late, just be late, so late they're just happy you showed up.
That that is good. And I think my your dad must have given that advice to my dad because my dad is always late also. But that is good advice. Um, yeah. So I was late. So then I was like, I don't like being late. And so then I was late and I was like, I felt bad because I made everyone wait for me. And so like the first question he asked me, I immediately just started crying. And then I was like, wait, hold on, let me just compose myself. Well, I never composed myself and I cried through the whole freaking interview. And I hate it because I don't like to cry.
Same.
So when you watch it, just fast forward through my parts.
I had it like zoomed in, so I don't think I was seeing comments for like a while. I was wondering, I was like,
So Gaz is saying we could watch it live, but just don't show the video. but let everyone watching you guys know where to watch it and sync the video up. So we'll figure it out where we can watch it together. That would be fun.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Sarge was early to a meet and greet, and that you met him at. I am surprised. Was hell froze over? Because my dad's never early. Ever. You know what? They probably told him it started at 11, but it really started at 11:30, and so that's why he was on time.
Hey, that's
I
pretty
swear
good.
people do that to me. Yeah.
That's pretty good, though.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
is
know
there
some people you'd have to tell
anything?
them 4 hours early.
I know. I would never wait for anyone for 4 hours. That's just, I
Yeah.
don't like being late because I feel like it's disrespectful to the person that's waiting for
Oh,
you.
for sure.
So, you know what I mean? Like I hate being late and I'm always late and I freaking hate it. Like I try everything to not be late and no matter what, I'm always late. I don't know what happens. Like I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to leave the house. I'm leaving the house 10 minutes early and then I get to my car and I'm 10 minutes late." I don't know like what happens from the time I leave my house till I get in my car.
It's a time warp. Yeah,
It is. It's a time warp. I did make them wait and I felt horrible and it made me cry during my whole
Aw.
interview.
Aw, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
That probably made it
Aw.
so much more stressful.
It did because I
It's
was like
a
already
thing.
nervous. And then my dad, like, basically was like, "You better make me look good or I'm just owning you." I'm just kidding. He didn't do that. I'm kidding. He did not do that, but I'm sure he was thinking it. Um, but yeah. So it was super nerve-wracking. And then plus you're gonna be on like national television, like everyone's gonna be seeing you and judging you and yeah, girl, we had somebody like say some really horrible things about the biography. Somebody in the business. Somebody that my dad thought was his friend. If you go back, anyone watching this, if you go back to the live react of my dad and I reacting to the biography, you'll see. It's towards the end, but my dad goes off. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I'm excited to watch that. Sorry, my
Yeah.
cat been a very bad.
No, my cat was climbing the wall earlier, so it's fine. She's now very nicely sleeping. She wore herself out climbing my walls. Anyway.
I don't know if you can hear him purring.
Thank you both, beautiful ladies, for this podcast. Loved it. Glad I caught it live. I'm glad that you caught it live too, Chris. Thank you so much. Excuse me for being here. Um, Cutthroat said my mom was funny during the biography.
Can't wait to
That
watch.
is like totally my mom too. Like that is totally my mom. And she 100% wore the pants, and you can tell because she was like, I told him Sarge is not allowed in this house. Definitely, I had a strong mother, strong woman in my life, which made me in turn be strong too. So, but anyway, Lacey, you and I are gonna go in October. We're gonna go see Raw or SmackDown, whatever one we didn't see last time. I think we're gonna see this time
Raw, yeah, that'll be
in
fun.
Charlotte.
I need to look into that. I need to set a reminder.
Yes, I
Oh,
will make
man.
sure. I'll put my dad on tickets. We'll definitely go for sure.
I think my cat's gonna try to bully me. Like,
What's your cat's name?
his name's Georgie.
Georgie. I had a fish named
He
George.
he is his his pops was out of town, and so like it's been me and him, and he came home today, and I feel like he's like trying to make him. He's like, I'm laying with her. He's definitely Adam's
You're
cat.
not paying any attention to me. I need some
Yeah.
attention, please. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, he's being sweet now, but he was trying to jump on my head at 3 o'clock the other morning.
They do that. They do that. Wannabe actors wants to know, were Sarge and Boss friends? Yes, they were friends. They were friends. Bob and Ray were friends. And Boss Man came to a charity golf tournament that my dad did, and that is where I met him. Um, and he was very cool. And he tickled me, and it hurt.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. It's fine. When I show
I
you the
stepped
picture,
on
you're gonna
his
see, because
toe.
you're gonna be like, he was totally tickling her. You can tell. My
Yeah.
dad would do it too to get me to smile. Make sure you get a genuine smile. So anyway, all right. What do you have going on? Where can people find you if they want
Um,
to follow you?
so I don't really like you. I don't know if I will accept your follow request on my Instagram, but you can follow Dad's, and like I try to keep up with people on there. And I mean, I haven't, or just I literally on his Instagram probably more than mine anyway. So yeah, reach out to us on Instagram. Maybe you should probably get an email address actually, but yeah,
And on Instagram, it's Big Boss Man
it's Big Boss
WWE
Man WWE. Yeah, so
on Instagram. And does he have a Facebook page? Do you have a Facebook page for
yeah,
him?
there. Well, actually, CJ, he runs its Big Boss Man fan club on Facebook. It's a group that I mean, he actually met Dad as well and like ran his fan club back in the 90s and into
Nice.
the new millennium. So that he's great. So yeah.
Awesome. So there's a Big Boss Man fan page on Facebook, and then you can follow Big Boss Man's legacy page on Instagram, Big Boss Man WWE. Awesome. Yay. Lacey, I'm sad our time is over. I feel like we have so much more we could talk about.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
School tomorrow.
Yeah. School
School
tomorrow. It's
tomorrow.
my son's first day of school, and my daughter's first day is on Wednesday. So,
Well,
yes.
I hope you
But
guys
it
have
was
a
so
great
good to
school
talk to
year. You too.
you. Me too. I hope your son does too, and your nieces,
Thank
Nina,
you. Thank you.
little
Yeah,
sweet little girl.
they are amazing. But I love you, girl. We'll talk soon, and thanks everyone.
Yeah, everybody, thanks for sticking with us and for all your questions and for sending them in before. And hopefully we can do this again and we'll do like a live react, or I'll have my dad on here and we can all talk about your dad.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks again, Kelly. Have a good
awesome.
night,
Yeah,
everyone.
no problem. All right. Yeah, you too. Bye, everybody.